It's the biggest prize in angling history, and it's happening right here at Mallory Park in the heart of England. Best known for its motor racing traditions, fishing now takes centre stage with a record cash prize for the sport, an astonishing £25,000, winner takes all in FishOMania 1994. 2,500 anglers set off from all parts of Britain trying to qualify, and only the best 16 made it through. There are 16 pegs, 16 positions, they all drew lots. Because of the wind direction, pegs 11 to 16 are where the experts want to be. Pegs 5 to 10, the ones to avoid. So there's Mallory Park in Leicestershire, and the weather, it's warm, a little breezy, but all in all perfect conditions for this moment of angling history. Let's hear from the competitors.
I mean, these pegs, in practice, they've been very consistent. It's nice. I'm quite happy really being in the middle of the length rather than being in the early numbers. I mean, I would have fancied 1 and 2, but sort of 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, I certainly wouldn't have fancied at all. And, it's nice to be sort of in the middle, at least you know what's going on. Yeah. And it's, according to Roy and some of the locals, it's, quite a good area. So, I'm dead happy, really.
With the weather being as it has been for the last week, I wanted to draw anywhere from 11 upwards. So getting a high number, I was just happy not to be on a low number as it was last night. So quite pleased.
And there was some celebration afterwards.
We had a great night last night. Yeah, it was good.
Now, we've seen you plumbing the decks. You've been doing all your preparations. Is this the most nerve-wracking time? Only a few minutes to go till the start.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big match. There's obviously a lot of money on it. Just eager to get started, really.
And the weather conditions here, will they suit your peg, do you think?
The weather conditions today have changed, actually. It's been a bit colder and the wind's been blowing this way all week. Now, this is why these high numbers have turned out favourites. But today the wind's dropped, the sun's come out, and I think it's going to be a real leveller.
It's high noon, it's 12 noon. Ahead, 5 hours of intensive competition. The bags are weighed every half hour so that each angler knows just how he's doing, as well as all his opponents. 4,000 fans, friends and relatives crowding the banks. It's almost a football atmosphere. No leisure pastime this. It is, after all, Britain's #1 participation sport. So let's join our host, Paul Dempsey, and technical expert, Andy Little.
Right, what they've been doing, they've been making their balls of ground bait up while they've been waiting for the whistle to go, and now they're going to start filling it in. You can see them here, they're catapulting these balls of ground bait out, about tennis ball sizes, and they're going to be going out 50, 60. The good guys putting them out to maybe even 70 and 80 yards. Try and get beyond the rest of them.
What varieties of bait here are we talking about?
Well, they're going to be using everything from maggots to boilies, and you know about the boilies, don't you?
Well, I was once persuaded to eat them. It's the bravest thing I've ever done, incidentally.
Yeah, I actually think that it's going to be the bigger baits, the more selective baits that may come through. The sweet corn and the boilies could actually win the day.
Our favourite, here he is, getting down to work. Damien Bracken, right at the other end on 60.
He's one of the real up-and-coming stars, and I'm staggered to see him out on the pole. I really am.
Explain that.
Right, well, he's actually fishing on a fixed line. The rest of them have gone out on feeders and on the waggler. This is a fixed line. He's going to have elastic on the end of the pole and a pole float. He's obviously got something up his sleeve here that no one really expected to see this. This is a brave man, no doubt about that at all. He's probably hoping to get some skimmers and some roach and build up a very, very early lead. I'm amazed. The amount of ground bait he's put in as well. You can see all the bits and pieces in. That's the main bulk of the ground bait, and he's got a lot of sweet corn in there, a fair amount of hemp, and he's really filling it in. He's obviously very, very confident he's going to get them at about that 11, 12 metres out.
Well, all the experts, yourself included, tell us that the draw did not favour our anti-post favourite Simon Wheeler, but here is Simon, and as we see this, you'll decide on his method here today.
Well, he's on the feeder, and the one thing with Simon, he's on a roll at the moment, and confidence is paramount in this game.
Really?
Really, and really, I think if Simon actually drew on the racetrack, he'd be confident. He's catching fish wherever he goes. Superb up, he's going to be one of the names of the future. There's no doubt about that in my mind at all. Superb angler, full of confidence, and I think no matter where he was going to draw, he was going to get it. He fishes for the top DAM Dorking team, and they are the best in the country. There's no doubt about that.
He did quite well in the UK Championships as well.
Yeah, everywhere that Simon's going at the moment, he's doing the business.
So that particular bait compound is what?
Right, well, what that is, that's balls of ground bait, and maybe it's the time to talk a little bit about the ground bait. There's a great French influence that we've got in the UK at the moment, continental ground baiting is something that's really taken off in about the last 5 years. There's lots of additives in there, lots of colouring, lots of flavouring, lots of seeds, lots of different particles, and these are secret recipes that a lot of the French top ground bait makers, they're making these recipes up, and we've adopted this method. It's very good, and he's putting he's putting his hooked baits in there as well. What he's using on the hook, the maggots, the casters, and the pieces of corn, he's putting out in the ground bait as well as a tempter.
One of the best talkers in the game, they tell us, is Dickie Carr. He's on peg 9. Here he is, Andy.
And it looks like he's probably got a carp here, the way he's playing it. Slowly, he's probably been fishing out at about 50 yards. You know, he talked himself out of a draw, and here he is playing a decent sized carp. See the way the tip's going round there? Undoubtedly a carp, that fish. Could take him as much as 5 minutes to actually land this. He's probably on about a 4 pound hook link. That fish could maybe, possibly 6 or 7 pounds even.
That's a lovely confidence booster this early in the day, isn't it?
He must be so pleased when the first bite you get, when the tip goes round and hit into that first fish. He'd be very nervous at this point because he'd be hoping that the hook's not going to pull and he's not going to lose this fish.
Just tell us a little more about this legend of the sport of fishing. He's quite a comedian.
He's a right character. He's actually got his own ground bait company, and when he's not fishing, he's actually going around the tackle shops selling this unique ground bait. He's a super guy, he really is. He is one of the very, very top. He's top of this tree. He can, like Simon, he can catch fish anywhere.
Right, we'll leave Dickie to land his carp, we think it is. We'll be back there in good time to see the fish get into the net. Now down on 6. Andy Little, this is Lou Nightingale, and he's onto something too, isn't he?
Yeah, can't quite make it out, but it probably looks like a bream the way he's bringing it in, or it might be a small carp. It's marvellous, isn't it? We all thought those outside pegs were going to be the flyers, and it's the middle pegs that are actually doing the business at the moment.
66 to 1 outsider.
Yeah, brilliant. And I should think the nerves are running very high out there at the moment. Could actually be a carp the way it's going now. I thought it was a bream at first, the way he was bringing it in, but that looks more like a carp.
Andy, do carp fight hard?
Yes. Much harder than the bream. This is what Damien was on about earlier. If he could get the bream, he could actually pull them in very, very quickly.
Here's Dickie once more.
He's getting near to the end of this. He's not going to rush this. As I said earlier on, it could actually take him 5 minutes to get this fish in, and it's going to be about that length of time. 5, 6, 7 minutes. He's not going to rush it. If he gets one of these every half an hour, he's going to have one heck of a bag at the end of the day.
I'm sorry to say this, but as a layman, I don't understand why it's taking so long to bring that fish, which is well hooked.
The fish is well hooked. Now he's fishing with a line that is probably lighter than the weight of the carp. When the carp actually moves its head from side to side, say that fish was 6 pound in weight, it could actually generate a force of probably 12 to 15 pounds. Now, as Dickie said, he was actually fishing on a 5 pound hook link there, so it would take very little to break that line.
Lou Nightingale's getting close to landing his, isn't he?
Yeah. It's got to be a carp. It's taking too long for a bream. The bream there pulls straight in. Even a 2 pound bream would come in very quickly. 30 seconds and it'll be in.
Is part of the art also to tire the fish out slightly?
You have to. There is no way that you're going to wind a carp in. You know, once you've hooked it, you've got to play the fish out, and it's the art of it. You can see there, Dickie's actually supporting the rod with his left hand. He's adding a bit of stiffness to it. He's got the fish very near the edge. It's now tiring. He wants to get it on top, take a bit of air on, and then he'll get it in that net. Such an experienced angler, you can see by the way they're playing the fish. Marvellous to watch.
He is not perturbed by the crowd behind him either, is he?
No, he played to the crowd, if anything, Dickie. He's a veteran, you know, at 50 years old. He's been probably fishing now for 40 odd years, you know, so he's seen it all before. I can't see if he's actually using any shock absorber on this. It'd be interesting when he gets a bit nearer the net, if he's on the true method or he's on his own. No, he's got some shock absorber on there, can see it. You can actually see now the hook links on the feeder.
Lou Nightingale, this is. And Lou
carp
is on the scoreboard.
Brilliant. So that's got to be the first carp that's landed. Nice fish.
Does it look?
Probably 5 pound by the looks of it.
5 pounder, yeah.
Yeah. He'll be a happy man at this moment in time. That first one in the net is so important.
Now tell me, Andy, for speed, What, they just snip the line and
Oh
carry
no
on,
no
or
no
what?
no no! They're fishing with barbless or semi-barbless hooks, and you've got to take the hook out. If they actually, you mustn't leave the hooks in fish. It's very important. And the sort of tackle that we're using these days is very fish friendly. You know, we're looking at conservation all the time, and you see him there was using a disgorger. Takes literally a moment of a second just to get the hook out. The fish is in the net, hasn't suffered any. When that fish is returned out, it'll be just as good as it was when he hooked it. I think Dickie's still playing that fish.
Yes,
It could be a very good fish, this. You know, Lou obviously got that one in, which was probably 5 or 6 pounds, a lot quicker than what Dickie is. So this may be a very big fish.
From the point of view of the match angler in competition, if you feel like you're onto something reasonably big, but it's taking a half an hour, 40 minutes to catch, does the time factor become a worry to you?
Well, it's a gamble, isn't it? You know, there's fish in this lake that go up to 20 pounds in weight. Now, if it takes you an hour to land that 20 pounder, quite honestly, it's going to take an awful lot of fishing to catch 20 pound of bream in that time, which you'll get in very, very quickly. And what must be going through Dickie's mind at the moment, you know, is anyone else catching up with me while I'm playing this fish? But he'll be happy to get the thing in the net.
I think Gary Norman, who's down there, can have a word at the key moment.
Well, Dickie's been playing his fish between 5 and 10 minutes now, and I don't blame him. We've seen him turn once, looks about 7 or 8 pound, but it's seen the net. Now, if you fish, you know that once the fish sees the net, he's off again, and it's gone on another run. But Dickie's playing it very, very carefully, and it's going to run again. It's going off again. He's playing this so gingerly. Here you see the fish turn now. Here we go. Come on, Dick. Good man. Let's have a look at the fish. What do you reckon, Dick? What do you reckon, Dick?
Oh, it's about 7.
It's about 7.
About 7. That's been...
Looks more like 8 to me, Dick.
Well,
Well played, Dick.
lovely. Shaking with nerves.
The weigh-in, each 30 minutes through this afternoon, a 5-hour match. Cumulative totals go together through the day. Just explain a little more about this system of marking today, Andy.
Well, this is actually unique. It's never been done before.
Do you like it?
I love it because I think it adds a little bit of an edge to it. Under normal circumstances, in a 5-hour match, there'll be one weigh-in at the end, so no one will know what the other competitors are catching. Now, everyone's going to know exactly what they're catching right the way from one end to the other, and I think it's actually going to make it a more interesting competition.
Back with Steve last here. He's still working on this fish on peg 11, Andy Little.
Yeah, I know he's nearly there now. He's reaching for the net. He's probably had this on for the best part of 10 minutes now. It's amazing. And it's not foul hook. Look, the hook's clearly in the mouth, so it's probably a very good fish. Yeah, superb. That's going to be another big lump. Probably maybe 8 pounds. Could be even 9 pounds.
Oh, he almost lost it, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's a big fish. Big fish. Superb. Mirror carp.
Here's young Mr. Last, and in the context of the competition, 35 years of age, Steve is one of the younger competitors. But
I should think he's really enjoying this,
Yeah.
his sort of water. You can see, look, I think he hasn't got the same sort of nerves. Pressure's not so on him. Yeah, he's actually from Essex, loves motor racing, karate of all things, and this will suit him. He likes running around in fast cars. Can't be bad at all. He's been out there for quite a few years now. In the background, shall we say, his best catch to date was in Denmark, and he had 120 pounds, and that was with the Drenham team. So great stuff.
Favourite fish dish, skate.
I wonder
He
if
thinks
that's
he's going to
catching it.
skate off with the prize today, probably. I told you I wouldn't do any more attempts at jokes. Are there any of the boys who don't like fish, by the way, as a dish?
I don't know. I don't like carp, so I don't know about the rest of them down there. They do eat carp in certain countries, but I wouldn't eat the things.
More on Dickie Carr, our leader, in just a moment or two. But this is the scene developing through the afternoon here at Mallory, and it's so good to see so many people coming out to support. This is just a tiny fraction, one section of the crowd, and that's our main scoreboard. We'll be bringing you up to date with how the weigh-in is progressing. We're just through the second of our half-hourly weigh-in marks here, and it's the cumulative total developing through the afternoon that will decide the outcome. And the winner-take-all check tonight, £25,000. We mentioned Dickie Carr. Dickie is on a roll here. Andy, it looks like he's got something else down on peg 9.
Yeah, absolutely. He's into his third fish now, and obviously that ground bait and the confidence is perking him up no end. I bet he's a very, very happy man. I can't believe that he didn't fancy this draw. So intense, look. Brilliant. Lovely to watch. He's a pleasure to watch, Dickie, and I'm sure he's entertaining the crowds down there. Look, he's actually got time to talk to them as well. Lovely stuff.
Tell us more about Dickie.
Well, as I was saying earlier, he's out there and he sells ground bait. So he's, you know, fishing is his living. He lives in Hertfordshire. And his other interest, he likes a bit of snooker. So he's got a bit of competition down on the celebrity patch there. And of course, he likes doing a bit on the old bookies there.
Yes, we hear he's a big follower of Henry Cecil's horses.
Whether he's won a few bob at that as well as the fishing, I don't really know. Yeah, in actual fact, on the fishing front, he is one of the very, very top of the tree there. He's actually, on the pole, he's been world champion, king of the clubs twice, absolutely British pole champion, not world champion, sorry. His best catch at the moment is from the River Bann, and that was 195 pound of roach from Enniskillen. Absolutely superb. He loves going to Ireland every single year. Wins a lot of money out there.
Favourite dish, prawn cocktail.
They're all a bit fishy, aren't they?
Yeah, but I don't think he catches his supper too often, do you? What's he catching, I wonder?
Another carp, I would think. I'd be very surprised if there's anything else. Yeah, and the third one comes in. Superb.
Right, let's assess the position after 3 weigh-ins. That's an hour and a half into the competition. And Dickie Carr in the very unpopular peg 9, £6 10 ounces in the last half hour. And that takes him straight into the lead with £20 altogether. After an hour and a half, John Cunliffe and Steve Last chasing him all the way. But in fact, there are 5 competitors still to land a fish. Still a long way to go, 5 hours of fishing. We'll be back with FishOMania 1994 after the break. Welcome back to FishOMania 1994 and the battle for the richest ever prize in angling, £25,000, winner takes all. Let's rejoin the action straight away with Paul Dempsey.
Now down on peg 3, it looks like Melvin Holbrook is getting himself into contention, Andy Little.
Yeah, at long last he's got one. This is this very, very likeable West Country lad. He's probably one of the best known anglers down that part of the world. And this is probably a bit alien to him. He doesn't see too many of these, I'm sure. But I should think that he is very, very appreciative of that fish. So another one on the board.
It's excellent news for Simon Wheeler here. Only 1 ounce for the first 2 hours of the match, but that looks a healthy one, Andy Little.
Yeah, at long last he's got one in the net there. So, you know, persistence paid off. He's actually got one. It's not a huge fish, but it's a wade up the list there a little. So, yeah, it's good for Simon. I should think that's given a bit of confidence. Probably looks about £4 or £5 that fish.
Another carp, yes.
Another carp, yes.
And this is Melvin Holbrook, who's starting to come through the field. This is the 4th weigh-in point, right in the middle of the match. This is the heart of the affair now. You've got to start to get in some decent fish. And Andy Little, this looks like quite a good fish that Melvin has got at a very good time, yes?
Actually, I think he's got 3 fish there. He's got
Really?
a carp there, looks like about £6, and a couple more. He's probably got about £8 there, 8 or 9 pounds. A couple of bream and a carp. So that's very good. Now, he's probably had the best last half hour of anyone by the looks of it.
Yes. Now,
Brilliant.
going on there, we're hearing that amounts to £8 and 13 ounces.
Yes, Melvin is certainly the man at the moment who is running hot. Mel, over the last half hour, you've done really well.
Yes, 2 carp and some skimmers as well. Not too bad.
They're saying in the studio it's pushed you up probably to around 4th or 3rd. And at last, at this end of the lake, we're starting to see some action courtesy of you.
It's been extremely hard. Sat here for hours with hardly a bite at all. Now, a few fish come in.
I mean, I'm a complete layman as far as this is concerned, but I can tell that you are getting some length on the cast.
Getting length, not accuracy very much. It's type of fishing we don't normally do down our area, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, I'm with Steve last, and just watching the rod tip, we're getting lots of little nudges, and we had a drop back bite a minute ago. I think there might be some bream feeding out there, but nothing positive yet, Steve.
No, I've still only had the one fish. I'm confident that hopefully get a few more before the end of the match.
Key to this is to keep feeding. You keep putting ball after ball after ball of bait in. I mean, is there no chance that they overfeed?
Not really, there's so many fish in the water that it's not something that you really need to worry about. Just keep feeding regularly and hopefully they'll turn up and start feeding.
What do you make of these little knocks you're getting? There's a few little knocks on the top of your rod there.
Whenever we're fishing, they obviously attack the ground bait ball, and that shows at the rod tip as it goes round. It could be that it's a carp having a go or bream in the peg as well. So the important thing is not to strike and just sit on your hands and wait and see what's developed.
You're still sticking with red maggot, not tried worms?
I've been changing about. I've been on worms, sweet corn and maggot, and keep ringing the changes to see if I can connect with another fish. It could well be another lump.
You keep feeding and we keep watching.
Steve last with Gary Norman there. Hope springing eternal for our leading group. And he's going back to make as much ground bait as possible, it seems, Andy Little.
Yeah, well, he's only had that one fish, as he says, and he's obviously not getting a lot of bites. There's some fish in the swim. He's getting some indication on the tip there. Probably on the ground bait. Maybe a little bit too much out there for to get through it until they find his own bait. But he's confident, and that's the main thing.
Thanks, Andy. Our current leaderboard looking like this on FishOMania then. Dickie Carr still in front, but we haven't heard a lot from Dickie in the last 45 minutes or so, and maybe the gap is starting to close behind him. John Cunliffe, Steve last in the frame, and Melvin Holbrook. We've seen him catching fish, and in just a moment or two, oh, this looks like a big one. Lou Nightingale, who is also in contention. What's he got?
Another very good carp. This well could be double figures.
Now, Lou was in 4th. His running total last weigh-in was 8 pounds and 14 ounces, and if it is a big one, that's going to push Lou
This could put him in
close.
2nd place. It really could. That's a
That
very good fish.
Is that a contender for the biggest of the day? Catch of the day?
Well, we've had 2 11-pounders, and this is probably another fish, maybe even a bit bigger. It's a good fish, a lovely common carp. It's difficult to say at this angle when he moves around. Good fish. It's certainly going to shove him way up there. 2nd or 3rd position.
Describes his favourite waters as anything where there are carp.
Yeah,
so
he's well suited to this. Well suited to this. Loves his carp fishing.
Now, peg 13, John Cunliffe, very much in contention today. Here he is. I wonder if he's got into anything here.
Well, he's in 2nd position now. This is quite incredible. The very big, likeable man, and he looks confident, doesn't he? Concentration.
What a study in concentration that is.
Superb. How quickly that gap closed, though.
Absolutely.
It just goes to show those couple of fish made all the difference. Larger than life character.
Has he had a very successful career to this point, Andy?
Yeah, a lot of these lads who are fishing at club level and not top internationals, if you like, really enjoy their fishing. They put a lot into it. Fishing becomes their life, and John's no different. He's a good lad, enjoys it, puts a lot into the sport, and as you can see here, he's here on the day and he's getting a lot out of it. And I'm sure he's enjoying it at this moment, being in 2nd place. He's 35 years old, and he's married with 1 child, and he's actually a miner by trade, so this is actually a million miles away from what he was doing. Barnsley lad, and a Leeds supporter.
2nd in the West Midlands qualifying heat of FishOMania.
His best catch actually here at Mallory, 150 pounds.
At last we've found somebody who loves fish and chips as a favourite dish. I thought it wasn't going to happen all day.
But it's still been fish. Every single person loves fish.
How important is the thought that maybe for these chaps they could end up being full-time pro fishermen? Is that a factor?
I should think it's a very real possibility to a lot of them. More and more professional anglers now.
This is peg 6 and Lou Nightingale. He looks like he's into something good, Andy. Let's check in the weigh-in. It may be the fish that we saw earlier, in fact.
Yeah, well, it was a common. It was a very big fish, certainly over 10 pounds.
Oh, it is big, isn't it? What's that look like to you, Andy?
A very, very big fish. No, it's going to be, I don't know. Can't see. Job to say, it's probably going to be 12, 13 pound maybe.
Well, that will have a big bearing on the overall
Difficult to see with the steward
motor.
in the way there. As soon as he gets out, perhaps we'll have a look.
Lou Nightingale was a 66-to-1 outsider from peg 6 this morning.
But he's chuffed to bits with that.
So 3 hours gone, they've had 6 weigh-ins, and look at peg 6, Lou Nightingale, 10 pounds 11 ounces in the last half hour, and that vaults him right into contention. On the leaderboard, Lou Nightingale now in 3rd position, up from 5th. John Cunliffe goes down to 4th spot, down from 2nd, but it's Dickie Carr who's just struggling a little bit, only 2 pounds 1 ounce in the last half hour.
Andy, nothing at all in the last 30 minutes or so. Does he stick to the tried and trusted formula at this point?
He has to. He's really got to commit himself to it now. It's noticeable though that you know, they're really catching him and catching him fast. 3 lads in contention coming up. We've got 3 19 pounds and Dickie on his 25 pounds. He's going to get overtaken if he doesn't get his act together fairly rapidly. I think what he's got to do now, he's got to keep that feed going in, exactly as Roy said. Roy knows the water better than anyone. He holds a match record here. He knows these fish, knows them personally, and virtually what he's predicted has come true so far. And these lads that aren't catching, it doesn't look likely that they are going to catch at all.
Now, overnight, this young man here, Damien Bracken, was highly touted as a possible winner. Well, really from the off today, absolutely nothing has gone right for him. But it looks like he's got 1 or 2 at least this time.
Yeah, not a lot of fish though, and the thing is, it's an unpredictable sport, and we all sit here and wax lyrical about the predictions we make. You saw it with Chris earlier. Chris has actually caught more fish than Damien, so a novice can come into it. It's the great thing about the sport. Angling is like that someone can come into it and catch one very big fish. Damien's sitting there, and look at the poor lad. I do really feel sorry for him. Terrific angler. It's not gone right for him at all today. A nightmare.
Teaches you to be a phlegmatic sort of a character, to treat the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune with
absolutely
equanimity.
Absolutely. Look at his face.
Well, you can see in his countenance that things are going better for Dickie.
Mm-hmm. He must be getting a bit worried though.
Do you think?
Yeah, they're biting away at his heels now. He's aware of that. There's 3 lads within a fish of him now. 1 fish and he could lose the lead. But he's a pro. I'm sure he'll bounce back.
He must have been in this situation in tight matches.
Hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times.
Yeah, hundreds of times. Out of all the people here, he will be the one that responds to the pressure the greatest.
And there is a certain amount of pressure going along with a major prize here, the largest prize ever in the history of British match fishing. £25,000 cheque for the winner. It's winner take all on FishOMania. Dickie Carr is the man in the bus seat where he's been from the hooter at midday today, but they're all on his tail now. Lou Nightingale in 3rd, but challenging strongly for the lead, still held by Dickie Carr. Has he got something there on peg 6?
He's into the fish again, isn't he? It's good he's catching all the time now. It looks like Dickie has actually stopped catching. Lou's on the fish and he's making the most of it. Job to see. I should think that's another carp the way he's playing it. Certainly chasing Dickie very hard now. The likelihood he's actually going to take the lead, I would think.
Great time to go in front for the first time, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Only needs a £5 catch here and he will be in the lead automatically. Yep. And on all known form, it's likely to be a £5.
Absolutely, yep. In fact, it could even be a 15-pounder, who knows? You know, there are big fish out there.
How much can you tell by the bending of the rod?
Very difficult. Once the rod goes to a maximum bend, regardless of whether really it's a 5-pounder or it's a 15-pounder, it's just really looking at his expression, seeing whether he's back winding, how fast he's getting it in. Very difficult to say.
Peg 14, Pete Wadsworth. It hasn't been Pete's day at all, but things may be looking up.
Well, it's got another carp, so at least the carp is still showing, and it only needs one of those big ones, and it could all change yet again. That's probably doubled his weight, I would think.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a nice looking fish, a good common, I should think. Maybe £7.
Maybe more?
Yeah, could well be. So it's probably actually doubled his weight that he's already got. A little bit happier. He looked very dejected earlier, didn't he?
But this is
his lure again. He's playing that very steadily. I should think the nerves are absolutely at their ends at the moment.
You know, he started at 66 to 1. Wouldn't it be wonderful if the bookies got completely wrong?
Oh dear, Billy, they could be taken to the cleaners, couldn't they, here? They really could. And this is a lad, as I said before, that actually only comes second to Dave Roberts, who actually hasn't caught a fish yet.
Yes.
So it just goes to show, this is what fishing can produce for you.
It's extraordinary, really.
Yeah. There's no telling on the day.
The heart will be pounding in the chest, isn't it?
Absolutely. Oh, look at it.
Now, this man could be a worried man.
Yeah, he could
Harry the fish is hard at work.
Yeah. Yeah, if Lou gets it, he's in trouble.
What is Bill Knott Jr.? What is that odds board saying? We should find out more details later. He's walking off, he's had enough. That's a triumph for the rest of us in the world of sport. A bookmaker walks off his pitch. Things are definitely looking up, and maybe Lou Nightingale is the architect of his downfall here today.
Oh. Wouldn't that be sweet justice?
No, I'm sure if it is to be a Nightingale victory, that'll be very good for him, the 66 to 1 outsider.
I hope he's had a few bob on himself. Taking a lot of time with his fish. It's going to be a good one, I'm sure. The nerves.
I guess the other part here, Andy, is that when it's so tight at the top of the leaderboard, the pressure to start to hurry your catching of the fish becomes very difficult to resist.
Well, the big problem is you might be playing the fish for 10 minutes, your arms are starting to ache and you're getting very twitchy. Is it going to come off? Isn't it going to come off? And the tendency is those last 2 or 3 minutes, if you hurry them, try and bundle them in the net, that's when it all goes wrong.
Now, our man Gary Norman, who knows a bit about this game, he's down there watching Lou catch this one.
Yeah, Lou just changed tactics. I was talking to Roy Marlowe about 2 minutes ago, and he said, I'm surprised they haven't switched from the frame to a block end, just to get a little bit more distance, and to stop feeding with ground bait and just feed him with hook bait. It's exactly what Lou's done. First cast, here's your result. Now, if only a few of the others could cotton onto that, this last sort of 30, 40 minutes could get really, really close. This looks about... This looks like just about 3. I'll see what Lou thinks in a minute. What's that look like, Lou? What do you reckon? About £3. 66 to 1, Lou. Did you have a bet on yourself? Huh? Was that a yes or a no? No, he didn't. I think he might have wished he did, but apparently the family did. I think the kids put their pocket money on it.
While Lou prepares to go back to work, we have the results of the 8th weigh-in. Only 2 left after this, but this is the 4 o'clock weigh-in, and this is how they stand now. From peg 1, Kevin Farrell not having a great day, 2 pounds and 10 ounces his running total. Kev Davis also not improving in the last section. Melvin Holbrook still very much in contention, although Melvin has not caught too many fish in the last hour. 19 pounds 14 ounces is the running total, but they were mostly collected in that second hour of FishOMania. Sandy Barker, 1 pound and 2 ounces for 6 pounds and 3 ounces total. John Howard, nothing at all this last period for 4 pounds exactly. Lou Nightingale. Now, don't worry if you're a Lou supporter, because the fish we've just seen will be weighed in the 9th weigh-in in about 15 minutes from now, but this is the results of the 8th, and this takes into account the fact that Lou had a very bad spell between 3:30 and 4, from which he now seems to be recovering. The running total then was 20 pounds and 1 ounce. Dave Roberts, still nothing for poor Dave. Phil Rainford, same story, nothing in the last half hour, 2 pounds 3 ounces in total. Dickie Carr hanging on with tremendous determination, but nothing to show for the last 30 minutes. 25 pounds and 8 ounces the running total. Simon Wheeler had a brief moment of glory, but that's all it was. 4 pounds 6 ounces, you don't win from there. Steve Last, nothing at all in the last half an hour. 11 pounds and 15 ounce total. Fred Lakin's having a day to forget. John Cunliffe, maybe even John has dried up under the pressure here, but he is still half a pound nearer to Dickie, isn't he? 22 pounds and 11 ounces his running total. It's so tight there. Pete Wadsworth, not in contention. Ian Turner improving steadily. 17 pounds 15 ounces. He's not yet out of it after 4 pounds 5 ounces in the last half hour. And Damien Bracken running to form for most of the day. Nothing in the last 30 minutes. 5 pounds 2 ounces. Not a lot being caught, but the tension is growing and growing. And this is the top 8 now. Dickie Carr with just around a 3 pound lead to John Cunliffe. One fish, even a small one's going to change positions here. Cunliffe in second then, Lou Nightingale in third, but we've seen Lou catching a handy one just a couple of minutes ago, and we'll know the weight of that at 4:30. Melvin Holbrook maintaining station in fourth, but he'll be disappointed to be slipping slightly out of contention overall. Ian Turner not out of it. Steve Last in sixth, Pete Wadsworth and Sandy Barker. It's between 4 with Turner a live outsider at the moment. This is thrilling stuff. Hope very much you're enjoying it.
Welcome back to FishOMania 1994 at Mallory Park. Remember, £25,000 the top prize, winner takes all. That's the leaderboard with just 1 hour left. Dickie Carr still ahead, £6 separating the top 4. Paul Dempsey's been joined by Jan Porter.
Here's John Cunliffe, bang in contention.
Well, John's no stranger to catching skimmers. I mean, he's fished with the Barnsley side, a crack outfit for many, many years. And I spoke to him last night at the ball, and he was very composed, he was positive, he was on fish, he was going to win. Make no mistake about that. Very confident guy. And, you know, he's just taking his time. He needs a couple more skimmers now, but he could catch a carp quite equally.
He seems to have a wonderful temperament for match fishing.
Yeah, he's got the bottle, and that's what you need.
Bottle, good word.
Bottle. When you've got 25 grand at stake and no second prize as such, you've got to have a lot of bottle.
We've been looking at the leader here, Dickie Carr. You know, somebody who stays in front that long, doesn't that just create an absolutely impossible amount of pressure in this sort of match?
Well, it's two-way street, really. I mean, Dickie's under a lot of pressure. He's in the lead. He knows people are creeping up to him. He knows he's only got to catch one more fish probably to win it. So he's under a lot of pressure now. But he's just got to carry on doing what he's done for the rest of the match. The other guys, they're chasing Dickie. And it's like in a race, if you're chasing somebody, you've also got that extra spurt in you. Whereas if you're in front, it's a lot difficult. He's in probably more of a dilemma than the other guys.
Second, John Cunliffe, right on his tail when last we heard, 22 pounds 11 ounces.
I've got to admire this guy. He's Mr. Cool, isn't he? Out of all of them, he showed the least emotions out of anyone. Fantastic. Look at that. Study of concentration.
The man in third, Lou Nightingale, also tremendous composure and concentration.
I noticed that when he was playing the last fish, he was up and down off that box like a yo-yo. That goes to show the nerves that are there, you know, whether it's sit down, stand up, or what to do with it. And he's so close, so close.
Here's our fourth place runner, Melvin Holbrook. things got a bit tight for Melvin in the last hour, didn't they?
Yeah, but the thing is, he's coming through again, and he's so close. One more fish, you can't emphasise this enough, that 1 8-pound fish, and it takes him clear yet again.
Now, who is this? Melvin Holbrook, we hear. Melvin's back in business, he's banging contention. 4th, but if that one is a healthy one, he may well be coming very close to the leadership in FishOMania at just the right moment. We shall find out more. Our leader remains Dickie Carr. Has Dickie got something? It would be timely for Dickie if he did have something. Looks like a skimmer we hear from the side of the peg. Every little helps for Dickie at the moment,
No fish.
but nothing at all doesn't help even slightly. That's the pressure of FishOMania. Has he got something? And will it make a difference? It's a whisper grasp, don't weigh too much. But the man who's been coming on the rail for the last hour or so is this man, Ian Turner from peg 15. In 5th spot, but the word from down at the waterside is that Ian might be much closer to the lead. We have the results now of the penultimate weigh-in, the 9th out of 10. Now, let's just concentrate on the important people in terms of the ultimate destination of the £25,000 first prize for you from peg 3. Melvin Holbrook hasn't had a good penultimate half hour, 19 pounds 14 ounces, no change. On peg 6, Lou Nightingale, 2 pounds 14 ounces. That's good, it pushes Lou closer, 22 pounds 15 ounces. Dickie Carr in 9th, still leads, even though he hasn't collected anything. 25 pounds 3 ounces. Steve Last in 11th, not good, 11 pounds 15. John Cunliffe in 13th spot, not good, but he's still right in contention, 22 pounds 11 ounces. And Ian Turner, very good, 5 pounds 10 ounces as we suggested. His total now 23 pounds and 9 ounces. Isn't this thrilling? This is the top 8. This could not really be closer. Less than £2 separating the top 5 on FishOMania. Less than £6, excuse me, separating the top 5. Less than £2 separating the top 4. Dickie Carr leading, 25 pounds 8 ounces. Just behind him, Ian Turner, shooting up the table. Ian Turner, 23 pounds 9 ounces from 5th to 2nd. Lou Nightingale holds his position in 3rd, 22 pounds 15 ounces. John Cunliffe is 4th from 2nd, 22 pounds 11 ounces. But for any of those, one good fish from now could win it for them. And Melvin Holbrook will still feel he can have a say in the shake-up, even though he's got those £6 to make up, as I mentioned. His running score, 19 pounds 14 ounces. Now, less than £2 separating the top group. Here's Ian Turner on peg 15. What does this look like, Andy?
Can't hardly see it. Looks like a skimmer. Yes, it's another skimmer. He's flying.
So it's a little one, is it?
It's a small one, but it doesn't matter. He's getting so close. He's on a roll at the moment, and Dickie's stopped catching, hasn't he? So you never know. Ian fishes for Shima, the hook and line manufacturers. So his sponsors will be pleased with his performance.
It'd be quite ironic, wouldn't it, with all these big carp out here in the lake at Mallory Park, that a little minnow wins it for somebody.
Oh dear, look at his face. Look at his face.
This is Dickie Carr, our leader.
Unbelievable. I do feel for him. Not having a good period.
Ian Turner. Well, he's not going to know himself, is he, if it's going to be enough at this point, Andy? He won't know.
No,
Does he have an idea, do you think?
He must have an idea, and he's just got to keep really going for it. He's gone out for the skimmers, and he's getting them. Dickie's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, Dickie, so he knows the pressure is completely on. Unbelievable. I wouldn't have thought that 4.5 hours ago we would have been in this situation.
Now, is Dickie looking up for a bit of news, do you think, from anybody around him?
I think he's looking to heaven, actually.
Remember, getting second here will mean nothing. It'll
Absolutely
be doubly
nothing.
heartbreaking for Dickie if he leads for all bar the last 8 minutes of FishOMania. and then loses out on the biggest prize in the history of match angling in Britain.
That would take something to live with. Having led all this while, look at the concentration on his face. Unbelievable. Oh, he's not chatting to the gallery now.
But there is still time for them all.
He needs one fish, Dickie, to push him clear. He's still got to stick with the carp.
Tremendous tension here. And a huge gallery around Dickie Carr and Ian Turner, but who knows, it could be anybody else from
Well,
the
they must be
leading
all
group.
willing him on. What an exciting finish.
What do you go through in this situation?
See, the trouble is Ian's actually catching fish, and although they're only 8 ounces at a time, he's creeping up closer and closer and closer. Dickie needs a fish.
So head to head, Ian Turner and Dickie Carr.
I think Ian's into another one.
Turner's the man coming with a wet sail, as it were, in the closing moments of FishOMania. He's still in second, but we've seen him catching, and Dickie Carr can't catch.
It's going to be another 8 ounce skimmer, I'm sure, the way he's pulling it in. But that's
Has he got another one?
Yeah, another 8 ounces nearer. This must be purgatory for Dickie.
Well, it's not going to make Ian happy if he knows that the fish is not big enough definitely to win, even at this stage.
But no, but he's catching at the moment. He's catching a fish every cast. They might only be 8 ounces, but Dickie's catching absolutely nothing. He needs a big carp now to push him clear.
There are less than 7 minutes left in the hunt for the first prize here at FishOMania. And Ian Turner keeps catching, and Dickie Carr isn't catching anything. And is he seeing this wonderful prize slip through his fingers? Turner, what's he got here?
Another skimmer by the looks of it.
Is it going to be enough?
Well, if he keeps catching at this rate, I think that he's going to do it. Yeah, it's another one.
What's that going to weigh?
8 ounces.
That's going to make it so close.
So close.
Too close to call, actually.
The thing is, though, if Dickie actually hooks a carp now, has he got long enough to land it with only 6 or 7 minutes
Yes,
to go?
explain this, because there is a slight departure here on FishOMania to the normal rules of match fishing.
Dickie could hook a big carp right now, and if he doesn't get it in the net when the whistle goes, it doesn't count. Ian's taking fish at 8 ounces every chuck at the moment. This couldn't be tighter.
But this is great tactics from Turner, isn't it? Is he deliberately going out to scoop up these little ones?
If he does, he's a very, very clever man, and there's no doubt about that at all. You know, he's obviously seen that Dickie's not catching any fish. These 8 ounce fish, he can keep building on that, keep building on it, and what a finish.
The man in third, Lou Nightingale. Does Lou have an air of resignation about him, do you think? He's been right up with the pace since halfway today, and you know, one good fish would win it for Lou.
But he's got to get it in. Has he got time? There's only a few minutes left.
We don't know. What's this? Has Dickie got one?
Oh.
It looks as though he's had one and lost one.
Oh no. I'll tell you what's probably happened. He hooked a carp. He knew he only had a couple of minutes to go. He's probably tried to bring it in. Ian's into one by the looks of it.
This is a really masterful piece of fishing, isn't it?
Yeah, this really is. Dickie had to go for it. It's unbelievable. I think he's broken out. Dickie tried to crane that carp in and he's broken out. He's now...
That is
Ian's
very
into
hard.
another skimmer. Another 8 ounces nearer, I should think.
Is it going to be enough?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where we are now.
This is an extraordinary
Quite
finish.
unbelievable. Poor Dick.
Dickie Carr, who has been in command all day and never really looked like surrendering the lead until the last half hour.
Another
But
bream.
Turner's got another one. We're 60 seconds away from the final hooter here at FishOMania. And Turner, who has finished so strongly, is that his fourth in the last 10 minutes?
That's his fourth in the last 10 minutes. I think he's going to take it.
It's a brilliant effort by Ian Turner. He's shown tremendous amount of composure, hasn't he, under extreme pressure.
Totally unbelievable, really, because really he was out the frame. He crept through. When Jan Poulter was up here earlier, he said he'd been looking at this lad, favoured him, and he's come through.
Ian Turner was as far back as fifth and not looking like anything more than a lively outsider just an hour ago. But
And
now
he's
into
not
the
even
last
panicking.
20 seconds of FishOMania, and poor Dickie Carr, who has led all day, may lose his lead at the last, but we don't know because there is one way in to go. Turner has come so strong at the conclusion. It's all over. That's the hooter to end FishOMania, the largest, most ambitious live televised fishing match ever held in Britain. And is Ian Turner our winner, or is it Dickie Carr, who has been in charge of the weighing scales from the first hooter almost until the last today?
So, who has won FishOMania 1994 with its record £25,000 first prize? Let's join Paul Dempsey to find out.
I'll reverse the result once more here. In third spot, John Cunliffe. He collected just 12 ounces in the last half an hour for a total of £23 and 7 ounces. Congratulations to John. In second spot, nothing caught in the last half hour, weighing heavily against him. A total of £25 and 8 ounces. Our long-time leader, Dickie Carr, pipped at the last. And ladies and gentlemen, in a thrilling conclusion to FishOMania, he caught £5 and 7 ounces of fish in the last half an hour, with the tension perhaps the greatest in the history of this sport in this country, for a total of exactly £29. The winner and the man who will take home the cheque for £25,000 and a magnificent trophy, FishOMania 1994, has been won by Ian Turner. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll ask Mr. Nick Fulligar, the head of publicity at the Daily Mirror Group, to step forward to present the trophy to our winner, Ian Turner. A magnificent trophy, the first in what we hope will become a traditional feature of the fishing year, and the cheque for £25,000.